Hey guys, welcome back to the Witchy Women podcast. Kylie and Zori here today.
Hey.
If you caught our last podcast, we tapped in a little bit about this, but we thought it would be a whole separate podcast on its own.
For sure.
Aging. And the fear around that, the internal clock for women.
The dread around
Why
it.
not men?
No, literally.
Women, you know what we're talking about when we mention internal clock. And maybe aging is a little bit more stressful for women, I feel.
Yeah.
Because of the image that women have to be so beautiful, pure.
Yeah.
Lana Del Rey's song, Young and Beautiful.
Yeah, for
Will
sure.
You still love me?
There's more pressure on women, but I'm starting to see, like, everybody gets stressed about aging.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And oh, my God. Yeah. So how do we get on this? We were talking about, the internal clock when we were talking about, like, having kids and stuff and, like, the pressure of, like, trying to figure out, like, when you would do that. And I'm somebody who just, like, doesn't want kids, so I kind of have to feel like I have a little bit more time.
Right.
So, I don't know. I guess starting off, I always, like, ask, but I'm like, what is your viewpoint on aging? Like, how do you feel about aging? How do you feel about getting older?
So, my Leo moon says that physically aging is terrifying. So terrifying. But the wisdom that comes with it and seeing how much you've probably grown and how much, like, internal work and just work you've done, like, in general, I feel like there'd be a sense of, like, accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in a good mindset when you age.
Yeah.
But, fighting with that Leo moon of, like, the physical aging being terrifying.
Yeah.
Being nervous to look in the mirror and, like, being like, who is this?
Yeah.
And we don't recognize you. Yeah. I'm scared.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like... oh, yeah. You're good. I feel like, for me... aging is, like, something that I never really thought about, and then, like, I did think about it, and the fear that was attached to aging for me was definitely, like, attached to the fear of dying.
Ooh.
Which we can talk about.
Oh my God, I was gonna say
we can talk about that for sure. And now that I am at a place
deep. Where
I'm very much more at peace than afraid of dying, I really feel very neutral about aging. I feel like I'm in a good place with aging, where it's like, I get older and I'm not feeling like I'm running out of time for anything. I feel like I'm just elevating each year. And I also think that that's because I've claimed that for myself.
No, yeah.
I've literally, we talk about in this podcast, like, being delusional and, like, whatever. And I know some people, like, I've come across a couple of people that, like, hate calling it, like, being delusional. I think it's just funny.
I love it.
I think it's funny and, like, being like, I'm gonna lie to myself. But I love lying to myself, or at least lying for the moment until it becomes true. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say being delusional is what gets us through life.
Yes, because I don't want to say
the best way possible.
I don't want to say it's delusional to believe that you're still going to be pretty when you're old, because there's so many old people that are pretty. So that's not delusional, but I just mean, like, delusional in the sense that, like, even though I'm young and I'm scared of, like, what changes will happen, just telling myself, like, well, it's only going to get better. Like, it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
I've claimed that. And so now, since I've claimed that, like, it was one year, I remember, like, it was my 23rd birthday, and, like, somebody had asked me, and they were like, oh, how do you feel now that you're 23? And I was like, hotter. And then I felt like such a bad bitch for saying that. And then I was like, yeah, I just get hotter every year. Like, that's what happens. And, I mean, track record-wise, that is what has happened, I feel like. So, for sure, I think I have, like, a better relationship with aging, for sure. But that being said, we do live in, like, a society that's fixated on appearance. So I'm not going to say it's not on my mind, but I for sure just kind of, it's not, when it's there, it's not there for long.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What content have you seen about aging? Or, like, narratives?
I don't know if I told you about this, but I went to the dentist the other day. I don't think I told you this, but I can't remember. And I was just talking to the dentist, and I was like, oh, I'm going to Europe, yada, yada. And I was just, like, making a joke, like, nobody in Europe cares too much about, like, their teeth. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that important. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder why that's, like, a whole cultural thing. And she was like, well, Americans are so vain, so we care a lot. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, Europeans care more about
life. Yeah. And life, living.
And less of the physical.
Yeah. Because it's just...
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of Americans do plastic surgery and stuff. And I am not so sure, like, Europeans or anywhere else.
It's definitely everywhere.
Does it as much, though.
But I don't think it's... Yeah. I don't think it's to the same extent that it is here. And I think that... I feel like when it comes to that, I feel like it really does come down to, like, values, because I never thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. But, like, they do kind of value, like, life, just living life more. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's where I'm at, where I'm just kind of like, life happens. I'm going to age. Yeah. Being afraid of it is wasting my time.
That's yeah, it's going to happen regardless.
That's kind of how which is why I say that I think my peace that I've come to with aging is very much connected to the peace that I've come to with dying. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, well, it's a part of, like, just being here, like, and also just feeling very connected as maybe eye roll as this might, like, sound, is, like, very feeling connected more to, like, my spirituality has, like, detached me as much as possible, because, like, I'm literally in this physical body, but it has detached me from my physical body to an extent. I'm only human, so very much I care about how I look. I'm not going to try to lie and be like, I don't care at all about how I look. I definitely care about how I look. I definitely think about it. But I feel like it's detached me to a certain extent from that, because I'm just like, this is just a vessel that I'm living in. And especially trying to, like, heal things with, like, body image and, like, stuff like that, where I just, like, really want to be neutral with the way that I'm, like, approaching myself. Mm-hmm. It really takes a lot of pressure off to be perfect all the time, because it's like, this is just what my body is doing right now. This is where I'm at right now, and that's fine. Like, what is the pressure? What is the, like, rush of it? So yeah, I don't know.
It is kind of funny, because sometimes I'll have some delusional moments where I'm like, I won't age. Like, the fountain of youth delusional moments where you're like, I'm gonna age so slow. Yeah. Like, if I just tell myself and I do all the right things.
Yeah. If I drink enough water.
Yeah.
There won't be wrinkles.
If I bathe in the tears of...
and infants. If I bathe in the tears of infants, I'll never get old. But yeah, I don't... I think if we talk about the internal clock, and we're comparing, like, women to men, which is obviously just, like, a gender binary, but, like, majority we're talking, and traditionally we're talking women and men. Okay, women have a clock on literally when they can stop having kids. Yeah. Men can continue to produce kids until they're, like, literally, like, 98. Yeah. If they're alive and they can jizz, like, they can have kids. So traditionally, as a woman, like, ages out of being able to, like, have a kid, and men get older, it's that disgusting thing of, like, oh, like, a man will, like, say, and not all men, but I'm just, again, speaking in generalities, and, like, think mindset-wise, how you're raised and what you see. At a certain point, this woman cannot give me anything anymore. Yeah. Because not only can you not have kids, but you have a hormonal change. You have, like, literally, essentially, like, a third puberty, because people say you have, like, a second in your 20s, but, like, a third puberty where, like, your hormones are all out of whack from, like, menopause or even being premenopausal. So, like, this woman can't give me what I want anymore. I'm getting older. The women are going to get younger, which is disgusting and gross. Why are you 60 pining after an 18-year-old? Yeah. But when that's the competition, 50-year-old women are going to be like, I need to look 18 again. Yeah. So I feel wanted. Right. And I think, like, that's also part of the reason I'm detached, because I'm just like, I don't have any need to feel like, I mean, I want to be desired, but I don't necessarily feel like I need somebody to, like, want me. I don't know how to explain that.
Think about, I have a hard time coming to the fact that at one point I won't be desired. Mm-hmm. Like, think about it. When you get hit on all the time, you're like, oh, wow, this is great. But, like, at some point, this is gonna not be a thing.
Yeah. I think I feel like... So that's so interesting, because it does feel good to be hit on. Like, this is why, like, my brain, I can't even explain to you, like, the way it works, because if somebody were, like, to hit on me, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
But I also am just like...
You fancy me.
I feel like that's only if I think they're cute, too.
Yeah.
Because
No,
I
it is.
100% get annoyed.
No,
and not even... And I'm not talking about, like, if somebody outwardly is, like, catcalling me or trying to hit on me. That's a different thing. I'm like... I was in Wegmans the other day, and I was in a full hoodie and sweatpants, and a man was walking past the aisle and was like... and he didn't even, like, say anything to me, so it wasn't like... I just was like, oh my fucking God. I literally got so mad. I was like, if I see him again, I'm hitting him. With
my cart.
Move! Like, can I not just shop in the fucking vegan aisle and Wegmans?
Yeah.
Like, please. So I think I've just detached that too, because I feel like which is, again, not all men, and I don't want to, like, you know, I want to generalize because it is most, but I don't want to, like, you know, hurt anybody's feelings or whatever, but, like, majority, it is so fleeting, the validation that they want to give you or feel for you. It is so fleeting, and I feel like, to an extent, I mean, obviously I'm not a man, so I can't speak on it, but, like, to an extent, it is, like, biological in the sense that it's just, like, fat ass, wanna fuck. Boobs, wanna fuck. I've spoken to men. I've spoken to, like, this one guy I was hooking up with. I told him, I was, like, talking to him about it. I was like, I don't feel like I can hook up with somebody who, like, doesn't have, like, similar values to me. Like, I'm a huge, this is also a whole other podcast, but I'm a huge, like, supporter of casual sex, but in just a different way than it's, like, actually being put out now, in a very different way, to the point where if I were to explain it to somebody who's having, like, those hookups nightly or whatever, they'd be like, that's not casual. But I think it's casual because you're just not in a relationship. But I was talking to him and I was like, yeah, I couldn't hook up with somebody who's like doesn't have the same beliefs. Like, I couldn't hook up with somebody like that.
The energy
you know?
exchange,
the energy isn't
not there. Yeah.
And then these two guys were explaining to me, they're like, well, if I don't really like a girl that much, but, like, she has a really great ass, then it's like I'm making love to the ass. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, that's
weird.
Weird to me.
Don't value
and
it
I was
like
like,
us.
and I was letting them know. I was like, I'm not judging you, because I was like, I don't know what that, like, mindset is like, but I just can't relate to that. Like, and I was like, also, don't you think it's so sad, because you're fucking this girl, she's like, oh, he likes me, like, he thinks I'm so hot, and you're like, damn, her face is busted, but I'm hitting it from the back because her ass is crazy. Like, that is insane to me. That you can even, let somebody, like...
Not letting boys hit it from the back 2024.
No! If he asks you to do it from the back,
love
he
from the
thinks
front.
you're busted. He thinks you're busted. He's like, so you think I'm ugly is what you're saying. You want to put me in
No, because I've had that thought so many times.
And I thought, and it's crazy because I've heard multiple guys say that before. Like, I remember asking this guy in high school that I, like, thought was really cool. I was like, you know, if a girl was, like, really ugly but she had a crazy hot body, would you fuck? And he's like, yeah, I would just put her in doggy.
I hate guys.
And I was like, that is so crazy to me, because to me it's like a whole energy exchange of, like,
and most guys don't think of it like that.
And I was talking to, like, a friend about it, about how, like,
God, it's terrible.
We talk about, like, me and my friend were talking about, like, we could make out for hours. Like, we could make out for hours, and guys immediately, like, as soon as, like, it's like, okay, we're gonna have sex, it's like, take your clothes off.
Yeah.
It's
no,
like,
literally.
what? I'm not even, I remember once I was hooking up with this guy, and he was like, we literally had just, like, we kissed, like, for maybe a minute and a half, and then he was like, take your shirt off, and I was like, I'm not even wet. I was like, you need to fucking calm down. Like, can we not just, like, slow it down? Like, and so it's just, God. I feel like the minds work differently, and because of that, we're not
understanding, and we're not,
especially, and
working.
I'm coming from the perspective of somebody who's, like, bisexual. I feel like I don't, because I don't fully rely on, like attraction to men, which I definitely am attracted to men, but because I don't fully rely on that, I'm just kind of like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I could care less if you are, like, whatever, like, at the end of the day. But I could imagine how, if, like, you're only attracted to men, how that is so scary, that your youth is fleeting and youth is all they care about.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying. It's crazy to me. And especially because it's like, oh, what, men age like fine wine, women age like shit. It's like, that's just not true. That's just not true.
No, it can go either way.
It can, and I feel like you're only as old as you, one, treat yourself.
Yes.
And two, act and believe like you are, right? Like, if you, I feel like there is a way that things, like, naturally age out, right?
Yes.
Where people are like, I've heard people that are, like, in their late 20s be like, I'm not going to be wearing, like, a crop top and all this other stuff, and it's not because they don't feel like they can anymore. They're like, I'm too old to wear that. But it's more of just like, it's not their style anymore because they've like actually aged out of that. But that doesn't mean they're not going to wear something sexy and hot out. It's just going to be more like mature. And I've seen that happen to me too, where it was like, I remember I wanted all these like really crazy style clothes. And I mean, I still like that idea, but it's just like now in a more mature way. Yes. Like I have an eclectic style still, but I'm just like, I kind of want like this and I want this, and it's like I've curated it to like more match my current age and like energy, and not on purpose in the way that it's like I'm no longer 18 so I can't, but it's more just like I don't really want that anymore. Like I want to represent like who I am now, but you can do that still. Like there's like, and I've seen that on TikTok as well, like women in their 80s and like 50s and 60s talking about like, I do whatever the fuck I want, like wearing like the coolest fucking outfits. Like if you tell yourself like I can't wear bright colors because I'm old, like, and you want to, if you don't want to wear bright colors, like that's fine, but I'm just saying like if you tell yourself you can't because of that, then that's just like you're holding yourself back, right? You know. And then if you treat yourself like you're old, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not like drinking water, like exercising, and you don't have to be going to the gym 6 times a week, but like get outside, do like one Pilates class a week or something, like do whatever makes you feel good. Take walks, go like just take care of yourself. Drink water, eat healthy. Drink water, like just do it. Like take care of yourself. And if you've never like strength trained, like just start trying. That's it. That's literally all it takes, and you would be surprised at how much younger you feel. Like, I know people right now who feel, like, old as shit, and it's just because they don't take care of themselves, and they're, like, younger than me.
Right. Or it's also the thing of words are manifestations. We know this. Words are spells. If you are young, nothing bothers me more than when young people are like, oh, my God, I'm so old. My back hurts. Grunting and moaning at every move. Literally. Stop, because that's also making you older. Yeah. Because you're saying, and it's because once you believe it, and you're believing
and
it.
It's the same once you believe it. And the same goes for people who are already old. Same goes for people who are already old. Like, I'm going into like with like health, like trying to become a chiropractor. I'm going to like I can never say it right. Musculoskeletal region, which is just like muscle and like bone. And it's like people are like, oh, if your shit hurts, if anything hurts, stop moving it. That's the worst thing that you could do. It is. Like, you actually, like, it's rice, like rest, ice, elevate, whatever, compress. There's something to it, but it's definitely not the whole. Like, you need to be exercising areas that have been hurt. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying, like, if you're literally in debilitating pain to, like, start doing a workout in that region. That's not what I'm saying at all, but I'm saying definitely, like, don't baby something that hurts. If your neck hurts all the time, start strengthening it. Yeah. Like, I noticed that, and I was like, okay, I need to start doing, like, literally, like, head, like, crunches, which is, like, a thing, but, like, we don't think about it. So, like, older people will be like, fuck, I'm old, I can't move, I need to stop moving. But it's like, you need to start moving more. You're going to feel better in your body when you start moving more.
I heard when you're sore, too, you're supposed to keep moving. Yeah. Like, go for a walk if you're sore, because
it's active rest days. Yeah. Not doing nothing, but doing, like, not something that's going to hurt you.
You ever notice you're more sore when you're sleeping throughout the night? You wake up and you're like, oh my God,
when I stretch or, like, start walking again, like, all the blood flow happens and I'm way less sore. I feel a lot better. And I feel like you said, like, words are spells, and, like, claiming, like, I'm going to get hotter every year has only made me be like, there's a reason for me to keep taking care of myself. There's a reason for me to, like, care, because I have so much ahead of me. Whereas if you're like, I'm old, it's like, what else is left? And then you're not, you don't care anymore, you know?
And I did see this TikTok where someone was explaining that, and she was saying, be careful what you say to yourself, because you can age yourself or slow your aging down by whatever you're saying. Absolutely. You know?
Yeah, and I need people to stop also just, like, with that. Like, I don't know if you remember that trend where the aged filter was going on. Everybody... I
almost cried.
Dude, every single person was so... It actually made me so sad how every single person was like, is this what I'm gonna look like? I was like, guys, first of all, if I'm being completely honest and blunt for a second, you're going to be 80. You've only got so many years left. who fucking cares, bro?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to fucking impress? Chad at the fucking frat? Like, you're 80. Like, you're not gonna get your cheeks cut by Chad at the frat. Like, just calm down. Like, all your friends are gonna be the same age. It's not like you're gonna be 80 and all your friends are gonna be 20. Like it's not like that. So just calm down. Like, if you have if your neck is like jiggly, if your face is wrinkly, like your friends are gonna be like, ew, their faces are also wrinkly. Like, what do you mean? Like, just calm down. Second of all, you will have lived so much life. I feel like the reason that we feel like that now, and that's I feel like it's the same thing with death. I was actually just talking to somebody about this because they were like asking me, they were like, oh, like, what do you think about like death or whatever? And I was like, well, I think it's just not that big of a deal. Yeah. I was like, I think we're so afraid of it. Obviously, it's scary to think about now, even for me, because it's like we haven't lived life.
Right. That's true.
That's why you talk. Like, of course, we're not supposed to die right now. If we did, that's why it's tragic when somebody dies young, because it's like they haven't lived life yet.
So much more to live. Yeah.
But that's why you see like 80, 90-year-olds being like, yeah, I'm ready any minute.
Content,
I used to be like, how are they all so comfortable with it? It's because by the time you get to that point, you're fucking tired.
That's true.
You're like, I asked them, I told them, because they were like, oh, well, why are you like so comfortable with that? And I was like, well, think about the opposite. What if you could live forever? Does that not sound exhausting? Like, to me, like, that sounds exhausting. Forever, it sounds exhausting.
Does, unless you're completely happy and content. If you're like
even
living
then,
in the forest, in the woods, growing your own food, and that's like
you're gonna get bored.
That's true.
You're doing the same thing, even if you're
happy.
happy.
See the whole world.
Yeah, I mean, people
money.
see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
that's why. So in those books, like forever ago, becoming a vampire, becoming immortal was a curse. Because it is.
That's true.
You have to also, all the friends you make, you have to watch all the friends you've had die. You have to watch your whole family die. You are forever living.
I would say
that is not fun.
I would say not forever. My dad literally just had this talk again, like 2 nights ago. Not forever, but me and him both agreed, like, maybe 50 or 100 more years. Just so that everything didn't feel so rushed and stressed.
And you want to know why it feels like that? Because of the society we live in.
Right.
Because I'm sure if you talk to people in Europe, they don't feel that way.
That's true.
Because they don't have that rush and stress.
Well, then we were also saying, if the internal clock could not be a thing, or if it could be prolonged, so if we did live to 150 or 200, and the internal clock maybe didn't start ticking, like you could have kids up until, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, even 100, even if you live to 200, if you could have kids at 100. Think about everything you could get done before. Yeah. So then you would be ready. Yeah. Like, hey, I have worked, I have built businesses, I have lived my life, I've traveled. Okay, now I could have some kids.
No, I get that. I get that 100%.
It just would give you extra time.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like there is a beauty in not having as much time now, because I feel like there is... Without that, like, crazy longevity, which we do have a longevity. People were dying
are living
way
longer now,
earlier. Earlier. People are living longer, and it's not necessarily a good thing, because it's not necessarily a great quality of life there, always, but definitely for people who have a lot of money or people that are healthy, which there's
very beneficial.
There's a crossover there. It's very beneficial. But I feel like there is a beauty in being in the time here being kind of fleeting. And I'm not saying that, like, I enjoy that, because I also do feel like, how am I going to do all the things that I want to do? But it makes me that much more like, let me enjoy the time that I have here, and where everything means so much more to me, because I'm very intentional with where I'm putting my time and things like that. But I do think, like, I feel like that's reasonable, like another 100 years or so, but I do think that regardless, there is, like, I feel like even then people would still be like, we need more. We need more time. We all are always going to feel like we need more time. But at the end of the day, I feel like with the aging, it's just like, I don't know. Like I said before, it's just like a thing that is going to happen. And I feel like
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. And I feel like the faster you just kind of accept that, because you know how much time you spend, like, fearful of a thing is, like, less time you're spending enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the same as, like, you know, anytime with insecurities, like, I get insecure all the time, like all this stuff, but I always remember, like, what people say, and, like, you know, are you gonna look back at those memories and be like, I wish I was skinnier, I wish I was, like, I don't know, I wish my hair was shinier, or, like, I wish whatever. You're gonna look back at those times and when you're older and be like, wow, like, I had fun. Yeah. Unless you didn't. Yeah. Unless you were in the bathroom crying because your zipper broke, or crying because your balayage fucked up. Like, I don't know. And that's not to say that we shouldn't care at all about how we look, but I feel like we definitely need to be way more detached. Way more detached.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, I don't know. People are at, like, the veneers, the people getting, like, Botox in their forehead at, like, 18 is, like, crazy.
Yeah, it is.
To me. Like, it's so crazy to me.
I do think it is good, though, that we are in the direction of at least living a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
Because think about it back then. Think
about people were dying at 40.
Rushed, or 30, or 20s.
Yeah.
Remember back then, like, could you imagine growing up, having a child at 12?
I was going to say, people were also having kids at 12.
Okay, you had all your kids died by 25. What? What life is
so
that?
Crazy.
Imagine.
That is so fast.
Oh my god,
because people were dying from, like, the common cold, because nobody had, like,
that's a quarter of what we're expected to like live
so
at.
I think it's cool. I think definitely that we've achieved that, and science is crazy. Like, I'm going into health, learning a little bit about, like, the future of health is, like, crazy. Like, things that seem like are crazy futuristic are happening and are being worked on. But it's also really unfortunate because the way the U.S. is set up, they're only available to people who have enough money for it.
Right.
Like, it's really scary. But
my dad was saying that I think Elon Musk is coming out with something. I don't know if it's him, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's coming out with something. It's not a computer, but it's some sort of device where, you know how we can Google something, we get that answer instantly. This is supposed to be something as in cures for diseases being instantly, like, formulated.
That's crazy.
And they're in the works, I'm pretty sure, of it.
Oh, God, it just makes me upset, though, because we already have, like, a lot of technology that I didn't even know about that exists.
Oh, yeah.
But it's because, like, it's only for... It barely ever gets used.
Yeah.
It barely ever gets used because it's only for people that can afford it.
Right.
And even the people that can afford it are still, like, not really affording it.
Yeah.
It's, like, crazy. So it's, like, what's the point in making this thing that gets used, like, once a year? There's, like, 3 in existence. Like, I don't know. I also think we need to change... I think being comfortable with aging, I think a large part of being comfortable with aging is changing the way you view old people.
True.
Which is, like, a huge, like, thing. And I don't want to bring another, like, ism to it. But, like, definitely I didn't realize that it was kind of so prevalent, even with me, is, like, ageism of being, like, oh, old people, like, suck. Old people can't do anything. Old people, whatever. But, like, they're just people. Like, they're just people. And I feel like when you view old people like that, I encourage anybody listening to ask yourself, like, how you view old people. Because even if it's not bad, even if you're not, like, old people suck or whatever, if you view old people as, like, not doing anything ever, bored, if you view them as boring, of course you're afraid of aging, because then you think that that's what you're headed towards.
Right.
But when you realize that how many older people are out there, like, having a good time, who have kids, regardless of kids, who have kids are having a great time, they're still living their life, they're still having, like, new experiences and, you know, talking to people, like, and they have all this wisdom, then you start to just be like, that could be me. And I think that's where I'm at, too, because, like, I do follow, like, a lot of old people on TikTok. I do.
It's so random.
Like, the old hippies that, like, that'll be like, here's my, like, whatever routine. I'm like, this is so cute. Like, I love this.
It is so
cute. I mean, stereotypically, like, if I think about, like, age right now and, like, old people right now, I automatically think of, like, a nursing home, which is, like, not great.
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
But I also want
hospitals.
I also do want to, like, really, really touch on the fact that, like, I'm not blaming these people because a lot of shit is just, like, genetic. You can't control it. But definitely prioritizing your health throughout your life will make aging less of a burden.
Yes.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. Because there was a guy I saw on a YouTube video last night, or like this guy was like going around just asking people like their workout routine, and this old guy was like shredded. Like he had gray hair, but like he was shredded. He had gray hair. I thought he was like 50 or something. He was like, yeah, I'm like 65. Like I think he said 70 actually. Something. Yeah. He looked so jacked. Like he was like, yeah, I work out like 6 times a week. I drink wine. I drink beer. Like I eat pizza. Like I eat whatever. But like I also like work out. Like all this whatever. And he was
it's the balance.
He looked like light on his fucking toes, dude. Like he was like, I'm whatever. So it's like if you're not taking care of yourself, aging will be a burden. You don't have to be ripped. You don't have to be working out like 6 times a week like that guy, but definitely taking care of yourself is going to help.
Oh yeah.
Because into your 20s, I'm into my 20s, my lower back is tight as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm actively doing shit to stretch it and it's still tight as fuck. So I can only imagine somebody who's just not doing anything at all. And that's why I like it's hard. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do, but that's why I just encourage people to think about taking care of yourself just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, for sure. So pretty.
The little snow tree.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Health is wealth. That's a very true statement.
Yeah. Because that's why it gets so scary. Because it's like your health is constantly deteriorating. And then you're old.
You know,
and it's hard to get around. And
I read that 26 is the age that your cells actually start to break down.
Damn.
You actually start to age at age 26.
Wow. That makes sense.
It hit me this year.
That makes sense.
I was like, wow. My cells are starting to break down.
It's fine. It's natural.
It's just weird.
It is weird. It is.
That there was like, that I read that that was the age, you know.
Yeah. No, it's definitely weird.
It's very strange to think about.
You know. It is strange. I feel like it kind of is connected to what we kind of talked about before with like the gratification, not necessarily instant, but the thing of always needing to feel like comfortable. I feel like we need to be more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because it's just like, I feel like that's also where like the fear of death comes into, where it's like everybody's just like, we don't know what it is. And to me, I was like explaining this to somebody because they're like, why are you like not afraid of death? And I was like, well, to me, death is the same thing as before I was born, and I don't remember what that was like.
That's true.
I was like, it wasn't scary.
That's true.
I was like, it wasn't bad. I wasn't.
That's true.
I was like, I mean, I've experienced that before. I guess I haven't experienced it because I wasn't here.
Right.
But I wasn't always experiencing. So it's like I'm like, so I guess it's gonna be something like that.
That is true.
So it just gets scary because like the longer you're alive, like the more you're detached from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think back to when I was like 3 and I'm like, I was barely a person.
Yeah.
Like, I had like maybe 3 thoughts going
right.
on at a time. Like,
right.
Like, so it's like, you know, you get older, you learn all this stuff, you learn about life, and it's just like, I want to whatever, which is so valid. Like, I want to see everything and do everything. If I could go everywhere and meet every person, I totally would.
Yeah.
And if I had all the time to do that, I totally would. But I'm also just kind of, like, happy that there's, like, you know, if everybody could do that, everybody would low-key be kind of, like, homogenous in a way where it's, like, we're all...
But I don't know if everyone would choose to do that.
No, not everybody... No, not everybody would, for sure. Not in that way, but I just mean, like, that would also kind of suck, though. Like, 200 years, like, there are people that spend their whole life just doing, like, sitting on a couch or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like 200 years just sitting on a couch.
Yeah, well.
Like, Jesus.
Could not be me.
Oh. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah. Aging. And why not men? I think men definitely have a fear as well, but...
I just feel like it's not as...
aging, but not as much.
Talked about or...
Probably I feel like they probably fear death more than they do aging.
Yeah, or like they fear the ones who are gym freaks. Mm-hmm. They fear not being able to, you know, exercise as much in their older years.
It's natural. It's crazy. But
I feel like, does that also go into this?
Nihilism?
Yeah. Does it?
Oh, kind of, yeah. I feel like, okay, so we had nihilism on here as a topic, and I feel like we could definitely, like, touch on this a little. So nihilism is, oh, God, I kind of want to, like, bring up the exact definition, because I don't want to get it wrong, but Oh yeah, here, let me bring it up on my phone. 1 second. And then we also kind of like, we called it yes man, because I don't know what the opposite of nihilism is, but I feel like that's a really good way to describe it. So nihilism is the rejection of all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless.
Yep. Whoever's listening, you know at least a few people. I know at least a few people.
Yeah.
Or I've met a few people that have this mindset.
Yeah.
It's
and
very
I feel
strange
like
to me.
Can nihilists enjoy life? So I consider myself like to an extent. I mean, I'm not like labeling myself because I don't know, but to an extent I like get this belief, and I relate to it, but very much in not I feel like more of like a cup half full than cup half empty way.
Yeah.
In the way that like life is meaningless, so it's like why not just like enjoy yourself while you're here, rather than life is meaningless, so what's the point of doing anything while you're here?
Yes.
Because there's two sides to
I'm
that coin.
way too.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's two sides to that coin. And I feel like in another aspect, it could also be like life is not meaningless. There's so much meaning in everything that we do.
Every single thing.
But I feel like objectively, looking at it from, we're just organisms that happen to be here and happen to be like sentient and living this life.
Yeah.
So in that way, it is just kind of like meaningless, but in another way, it's like we happen to be here.
Yeah.
Like all those like posts of like, I can't believe I'm existing at the same time as this musical artist or whatever.
Right,
it's like,
and that's...
It's like, that's the meaning.
That's the positive way of
yes,
nihilism.
Yes.
That's how we view it.
Yeah.
It's more so we... Like those videos. We're on a floating rock in the middle of outer space.
Yeah.
There could be a million galaxies. Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah.
But, like, what's the point in a way of, like, do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever the fuck you want.
It's so
Make
real.
the most out of it.
The thing where it's like you are a blip on a timeline.
Yes.
That is liberating to me.
Yes.
To know that. And I feel like that's one of those things where it's like the anxiety and the fear comes from, and I don't want to like say it like comes from like people being like, oh, it's all about me. But in a way, yes. Like, you know, when it's like you're so afraid to do anything because you're like, people are going to judge me. People are going to look at me. Nobody's fucking looking at you. Do you know the tube girl on TikTok?
Yeah.
People talk about that all the time where they're like, how would you, like, how do you just do that? And, like, people are looking and it's like, once you realize nobody gives a fuck, people on the tube with her were probably like, what is she doing? And then they were like, oh, okay.
I guess that started in London.
Like,
she's like, she's from London.
It's a tube,
yeah. I realized that when I was there.
It's a whole thing, and
it's just like, fuck it.
I love it.
Do crazy shit.
Oh God, I need to like,
you know,
this is we're segueing. I'm segueing into rejection therapy because I think that if you're afraid to do something, if you're somebody who's afraid of anything or have anxiety about anything,
like this.
You need to expose yourself to it. Like literally do it. Like, oh my God, I saw this one girl on TikTok that was like, I'm trying rejection therapy, and she was getting off the bus. And then I forget what she said. She either sang a song or like said like I love you or something as she was getting off the bus to everybody, which was so weird. But it's like you like your life continues on after that.
Yes.
Like
and you're never gonna see those people again.
Yes.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And that is so freeing.
You know what?
That is so fucking freeing.
That was literally in Europe. That was the motto with the girls I was with. It was literally, you're never going to be here again with these same people. We are in a different country. Nobody knows you. Let's do whatever the fuck we want. Do stupid shit. Meet people. Say whatever the fuck you want.
To
yeah,
me.
it is.
It is amazing. It is
and
so
not
liberating.
a lot of people think like that.
No.
Only a handful
That's why
of
I'm
people
like,
do.
if you don't, it's like I totally get it, and I don't want to come like off as like being like, just like do it.
But you should try.
It's not that easy, but definitely try.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I've said something like this on the pod before, where it's like if you're somebody who has social anxiety, that is not a reason to not go to a party. That's a reason to go. Even if you're just standing on the wall, even if you don't talk to anybody, just look. Just be there and observe, and then go again. Eventually, go to something else that you go alone. And just be there until you maybe feel comfortable just saying hi. Yeah. And eventually you'll get there. It might take however long it takes for you, but if you're trying, eventually you'll get there. And it is just so liberating to be in a place where it's like, nobody gives a fuck. I can do whatever. I can say whatever. I can talk to whoever. Like, that is so fun because really you start to take the reins on your own life and you are making decisions. The difference between being active in your life or being passive. Yeah. And letting life happen to you or controlling where you're going in life, which is like, it is so beautiful. So I'm like, yeah, it sucks to like waste time and be passive and just like wait for things to happen to you. It's like, you gotta go out there and fucking get it. Because there's shit to be got. Yeah. For sure.
I also saw this TikTok video of the rejection therapy, and this girl was literally calling colleges, big name ones. Yeah. Harvard and stuff like that. I saw this one too. So funny. She's like, I know I'm probably going to get rejected, but I want to. Yeah. I just want them to, like, reject me.
She did one also. I think that same girl did one on, like, jobs. And she had applied for a job that you needed a degree for. And she didn't have a degree. And she got call back for it. Yes. Yeah. She was like, we want to interview you.
And she was better than most of the people there or something.
And I was like, that is...
most of the candidates.
I was like, this is where it's like... that, like, shit like that is where I'm like, life is a free fucking reign. Yeah. Like, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. Like, you can do, or at least try. Yeah. Attempt to. What's the worst you're gonna get?
Fail.
No.
But, okay. A no or fail.
My favorite mantra.
We're on a floating rock.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares if we fail?
Oh, yeah. There was, like, I heard this in a live, I don't know where it comes from, but I heard this in a live that somebody was doing once, that rejection is redirection. Yes. And I love that mantra. Yes. I love that mantra because it's like, instead of reveling in the fact that I got rejected, anytime it happens, I'm like, okay, well, that means there's something else. Mm-hmm. There's something else. The faster I get rejected, the faster I know what I can actually go and do. Yep. The faster it's like, no. Like, I think about that all the time, especially with my career path. I initially wanted to be, like, a dental hygienist. Applied not once, but twice to a dental hygiene program. Got rejected. Randomly went to Ithaca College, had no idea what I was going to end up doing, and now I'm going to school for chiropractic. Like, yeah. It is like, and I would have never taken, had I gotten into dental hygiene, my life would have been completely different. Right. And I'm like, the faster you get rejected from something, the faster you know where your actual path is going to be. So I don't mind. I'm like, I want that. Let me know that you don't want me. And I also have that mindset of like, if I am not wanted, I don't want it.
I was going to say, the universe is trying to give you the hint. Like, if you get rejected once, you're like, okay, I'll try again. You get rejected twice, maybe you shouldn't be doing that for a reason. You know what I mean? Maybe the universe has something bigger.
Definitely fight for stuff, but it's like, don't but to an extent, stuck. Yeah, don't get stuck in stuff. Like for real, like, just don't. And it makes you just have so much of a different mindset of like, well, if I can't do this thing. Because I've talked to so many people where it's like, if I don't get this, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, there's so many things you can do. I'm like, take a year off, like, hang out, like, take your time. It's not that serious. Like, it's never that deep. And I think of it in a positive way, too. Like, I am a very happy person, don't get me wrong. But anytime I'm dealing with anything that, like, sucks, I'm like, eventually I'm going to die. I'm like, eventually, and I think it's more of like, rather than
how do you get yourself to sleep at night?
Eventually, I'm gonna. Honestly, yes. Eventually, and I think it's less of like eventually I'm gonna die, and more of like it's all temporary. It's just, but that's like my fun way, like, fun quote unquote way of being like it's all temporary is that nihilistic of like when I'm like dying and crying and sobbing, I'm like, girl, you are fully going to be dead and nobody's going to know the story. Right. Like, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? Right. There's a freedom in that, I think, that we're missing out on because we're looking at it with so much, like, fear. But there is such a freedom in that. Like, and I think we need to fully embrace that.
And that's where we put the yes man, because that's how we're kind of viewing life. Oh, my God. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, but it's a fantastic movie. It's a great movie. You've seen it, right? Yes. Such a good movie.
Great movie. And great concept.
It made me want to be like,
there's a TikTok in my phone right now that I saved. We were talking about how I saved TikTok. But there's a TikTok in my phone that I saved where this girl was like, my life got 100% better when I started asking myself, like, why not? Like, just being like, yes. Like, why not? And I mean, obviously, if somebody's like, do you want to go to, like, a meth lab with me and, like, hook up with this guy who, like, has, like, a weird whatever, don't say yes to that. Yeah. But, like, if somebody's like, you know, I'm going to do, like, if you just have an opportunity knocks and you feel right about it, or you're not, like, feeling shit, go. why not?
I mean, oh my God.
Like, why fucking not? I mean, if it makes sense, that doesn't mean to, like, blow all your money. Because I've had opportunity definitely come to me, and it's like, I know I'm like, I can't. I would, but I can't. There's other times
there
where
is
it's
times,
like,
though, where I'm
where
like...
you can.
Where I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, if I blow it, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm gonna die.
No, that too.
Like,
that
what am I saving for? Have you ever thought about that? What am I saving for?
No,
what
okay,
if I die tomorrow?
No,
it hits
definitely,
me weird sometimes.
Definitely, I think that there needs to be a balance, though.
No,
for sure.
there is.
It's like if you blow, because there's people who will take that and run,
blow
all their money,
can't.
and then end up on the street.
No,
that's
I know.
what you were saving for, a fucking house.
Yeah. No, I know.
A roof over your head, but for sure that there's like a point where it's like, you know, if you are like a chronic saver, because I used to like hoard my money.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that.
My money, but one thing I will, especially if I want to, really bad, I will always spend money on live music. If I care about it a lot. I mean, not
concerts and traveling are for
if
me.
it's pretty cheap, like, I'll go, like, for sure. And especially if I really like the band and it's not so cheap, I'll go still.
Yeah.
But yes, for sure. I spent, I forgot how much I spent.
I don't know.
But it was almost.
It was iconic.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It was amazing. And it's like, I'm never going to say no to those things.
Since, like, near us at all.
No.
So, that was
and I'm not,
so long ago.
I'm never going to say no to those things because it's like, I do want to live my life and I could die tomorrow, but I am going to play it smart in case I don't die tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that balance.
Well, it's the let me not blow $10,000 in case I die tomorrow, but let me.
But like I have
book
time
this trip
and money
book this
and
concert.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
That's why.
Why not do it?
This year is going to be a super yes man year.
That's how I went to that like group
maybe
party.
Oh yes,
yeah,
you did.
Where it was like it was super weird, guys. It was like my friend was like, oh yeah, like I work at this restaurant and there's this guy who comes in sometimes and he's having a birthday party. Do you want to go? And I was like, sorry.
Yes.
It's like, so you don't even know him that well. And she was like, well, it's Great Gatsby themed. And I was like, yeah, fucking Great Gatsby. And we go and it's like so ritzy, so fun. There's a bunch of free alcohol that's like really nice because this guy has money. Mm-hmm. We don't even need to talk to him. He's older. He's like way older. We don't even need to talk to him. I talked to so many different people there who have so many different stories. One girl had just come from, like, Switzerland. One girl had, like, she had owned her own business, and we were, like, talking about that. It was just so fun to, like, hear everybody's story. And we didn't even talk to the birthday guy.
That's so funny.
We just, like, didn't. I mean, we talked to him when we first got there, but we didn't. And it was just a great time. Like, it was great. And
okay,
like,
so...
Don't worry.
You said you have your word of the year. I guess mine will be yes, man.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that.
Yes, girl.
Yes, girl.
Because honestly, though, that's kind of been my personality, my whole life.
I was gonna say that's like already
it's just already me. But I'll just make sure I bump it up.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Bump it up a little more. Yeah. You know.
Definitely a why not.
Yeah. Started off the year with Europe. Started off with a bang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep trying to keep that hype up the whole year. I feel like 2024 will actually be a really good year, and I don't know why.
And when you do stuff for, like, a year like that, like, I remember last year was, like, I want to see more live music.
Yeah.
And it fucking found me.
Yes.
Every fucking place. Like, $10, $5, free, show here. And it was, like, local bands, so it was, like, really easy to go and see them.
Yes.
And I did, and I just saw so much live music, not to a point where I was like, I don't want to anymore, but to a point where I was like, I feel fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did not put it on my vision board this year because I was like, I'm still going. Like, it's still coming to me.
Right.
But I definitely feel fulfilled in that, like, in that dream that I had last year of just, like, I want to be in a concert. Like, I want to hear the music live. Like, I'm always going to love live music. I'm always going to want to hear that. But I definitely just, like, it was great that I got so much exposure last year, which was, like, a goal. And that was just awesome. And I was like, now this year, I was like, what is going to be my thing this year? And I was like, I think I want to...
Yeah, what is it?
I put stuff... My special thing this year, because last year was concerts, and, like, just live music in general, and I think my special thing this year was, like, going to be going to the city, because I was, like, early last year, I was in the city, like, maybe 3 times within, like, a month.
Yeah.
Just for, like, random reasons, like, a little short, like,
That's a lot.
I had gone to this concert.
Oh, yes.
I had gone to this concert, took a bus, it was in Philly, took a bus, the bus had to stop for, like, an hour, or so in New York City. So I, like, went, got some food, like, whatever, and then on the way back, it also had to stop in New York City for, like, an hour, and I was like, okay, cool. did that, and then about a week later, my mom had bought us tickets for the New York City Ballet, so then we drive up to the city. Yeah. I'm in the city again, and I was like, oh my god, the lights.
And then you went to Philly again,
and then with your mom? And then I went to Philly again, so that wasn't New York City, but it was also like city vibes.
Yeah.
And then later in the year, which was like, it found me again, which is so full circle, because the reason I put live music is because I knew I was going to this concert, so I was like kind of solidifying it by putting concerts in there. But then I also was like, yeah, I want to see more live music. And I ended up in so many places. Like, I just was like, I realized every time I was like, I'm seeing so much. End of the year, same person that I saw in the beginning of the year goes on tour again. I go and see her in October. I initially saw her in February and see her in October. And so I'm going. And then this time it was even better because I didn't have to, like, get a hotel or anything because I had a friend that went with me that lived an hour outside of Philly. Yeah. So we go to Philly. We go to the museum there. Like, it was just amazing, and I just was like, yeah, I want to spend some time in the city, like, at least. And I was like, that's pretty plausible, like, that's easy to do. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna put that on there. So
that's gonna be your, like, big thing.
That's my special thing.
Your special
it's
thing.
Not like my big thing. My big thing, I don't think I have a big thing. I never have like a big.
Well, you don't, especially yet, because you have a year off. Well, it would be like half a year off by the time.
Yeah.
But still, that's something huge, and you're probably going to plan something really cool during that time, and that needs a lot, like, you know, thought, because that's different, having off, you know what I mean? It's different than school.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, mine is usually the same as every year, travel. That's, like, my big thing every year. It's like, what can I go and do? And I started off the year so strong. I mean, a month into the year, I went to 4 different countries. Yeah. Which, I mean, Europe, you can bounce all around. But to me, I'm like, I just added 4 more countries to my roster. Yeah, like, exactly. Now I have went to 5 in my entire life. Now I'm just like, how can I bump it up from here? Yeah. How can I go above and beyond again? Exactly. So, yeah, it just gets my brain moving. Like, what can I do?
Dude, I love it. I haven't put... I think the reason I haven't put travel on there yet is because it's still very, like, a shaky thing for me, like, money-wise, especially because I'm going to school, like, paying for stuff. I'm like, I need to be careful with how, and it's just a big chunk of change, but I know I'm definitely gonna be traveling.
This makes me think, did you see this girl on TikTok? I don't know if she popped up on your feed at all. She literally posted a video and goes, guys, I just saw this girl that posted a TikTok that said, she was getting roses. She was going live all the time and getting roses, and she paid off her student debt. Because, like, a rose is, like, a cent. So she was like, I did the math. If I go live every single day for, like, an hour and I'm dedicated and disciplined to it, and you guys give me roses or gifts, I will pay off my student debt in, like, a year or 2.
Dude,
she's already gathered off one live. She got over $1,000 in one live.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to be TikTok famous. Like, I just want to have enough. I want to have, like, at least 1,000 followers so I can go live.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to be somebody that literally just goes... Like, there's people on TikTok who, like, aren't really known for their videos. They're known for their lives because they go live at, like, a specific... I would love to be one of those people that's like, hey, guys, I'm back. I always say...
You could do cooking ones.
I always say I'm going to get back when I have, like, more time. I'm gonna get back into ASMR because I had an ASMR channel, and it's such a wholesome way to be on the internet. There's no drama in ASMR. There's no like values or viewpoints in ASMR. People just get on and enjoy it. And there's people who do like 24-hour lives, or they'll do like night lives on ASMR, and people like gift them things to do certain like triggers or whatever, and I'm like, that is iconic. And that you could go exactly live. What I would do, and it's so.
And anytime somebody sends you a gift, you get money.
So scary. The internet is so scary. I remember I was like, I want to be an influencer. And now the idea of like actually having like a lot of followers, like really, I don't like that. I'm like, I personally don't want to have like a fuck ton of followers. The people that are in the middle, I kind of fuck with.
The middle school.
I don't want, like...
It also depends what
a fuck ton of followers.
It also depends what you're, like, famous for or whatever. Yeah. Like, if you just do, like, traveling videos and you're never really, like, on camera talking, it's a little different.
It is
you have a different, like,
It is definitely different. That's why I'm, like, ASMR.
You're just, like, silently
There's ASMR artists that have, like, 6 million followers.
Right.
And don't show their face.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're more so silently getting paid because you're not...
Yeah, I don't want to...
You know?
I don't want to be, like, an actual, like, influencer that's, like, here's this, here's that, whatever. And I just don't want to be, like, famous for my personality, I guess. I would like to be famous for, like, what I'm, like, those people aren't famous for them. They're famous for traveling, and people just like them, which always, like, that's how you get people to come to you, because you can watch anybody's travel videos. And the same with ASMR. Like, I have ASMR artists that I, like more than others. But that's also, like, preference. There's other people that have a lot of followers that I don't follow. So it's, like, I like that vibe, but I just don't want to be, like, I don't know, just the regular... And I'm not, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not, it's not for me. I just don't want to be, like, on the internet in that way. I also really very much, you can't find me on the internet, which is amazing, and I love that. And it wasn't on purpose, but ever since it happened, and I realized that, like, I'm literally untraceable. Like, you can find my name, and you can find, like, kind of the school that I go to, because I, like, have done stuff there. But you can't find, like, my social. Like, you can't find, like, what I'm currently doing, and I... kind of love that. Like, even my TikTok has my name, like, not attached.
Yeah, I know. That's funny.
It's not attached, like, in any way. Even though it's public, which is, like, my only social media that's, like, public. Yeah. My name is not on it. So it's, like, if you're, like, looking for me...
Well, you get so much more exposure
you can't find me.
Public on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm, like, that's part of the reason I'm, like... Well, also, I'm not, like, trying to build a thing, but I was, like, I do want, like, it to just be out there. Like, I don't really care when I do stuff. I think it's fun. But yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with, like, that medium level of, like, influence. But past that, I'm like...
No, there's a certain extent where it's...
And like you said, what you're famous for, definitely. Because there's people that just come
But it would be so cool to go live and discipline yourself every day and get paid.
I would love that. I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more than just to talk to people. Yeah. People who fuck with me, I'd be like, y'all like Lana Del Rey? Let's talk about it.
Literally.
Like, I love that. The one-sided FaceTime of it all.
I mean, people get so smart. I saw this other girl on TikTok. I don't know if you saw it. And she was going into cities. Yeah. Like, I don't know if she lives in New York City or something. And she would go cute, like, dress all cute on the streets, hold a sign literally saying, like, I need money to travel, or I need money for this. And she would just, like, and put her, like, cash or her Venmo. She would, like, scroll, like, show the feed of Venmo of all these rich people just Venmoing
Oh, my God, wow.
Oh, no, wait. Sorry. She would put flyers on people's cars.
Oh, wow.
Did I send this to you?
Interesting.
She literally would walk around the city, put flyers of her Venmo, and be like, I need money for traveling, or, like, for this and this, and... She would put, like, a picture of herself, maybe, or something.
Wow. That's so fun.
She got so much money.
I love that. There's also
the way that I think we would do that.
No, literally.
Literally go into the city and just put it on people's cars.
ASMR kind of, there's people that go live and draw, like, they have, like, sand, and they'll draw people's names in the sand, and it makes, like, a great sound. And so people will, like, pay to kind of have their name drawn in, like, cursive and, like, in the sand, and it's so cool. And there's this one girl that does it where, like, there's a certain day where she does, like, memorial. So people, like, can you write, like, my, like, dead sister or, like, my dead, like, husband or my dad's name, like, whatever in the sand. And so it's, like, all memorial, whatever. And I think that's so cool, and people, like, tip her, and it's, again, such a whole... Like, if I'm going to be, like, known on the internet, I just want to be in the wholesome area of the internet, because it is scary out there.
You need to make some cooking TikTok videos. Dude. Because you make such good food sometimes.
I thought about making a TikTok when I made the paella.
It is pleasing.
When I made the grinder sandwich, did you see that TikTok of mine?
Yes.
Like, that was... Oh, my God, it's so iconic.
You need to do that. Because then you can literally, like, do small snippets of, like, pouring this in. Okay, pause. Pouring this in. Okay, pause. And then it comes together so nicely.
I feel like I'm just so, like, the way I am is just so, like, not. I mean, every once in a while, but it's just so not that. Because I'll be like, I want to make a TikTok of this. And I'll get excited about it. But then I'm like, oh, I just want to cook. I don't want to have to, like, I don't want to have to get the lighting. I don't have to get the angle. Like, I don't want to have to record it, like, 6 times. I'm like, I just want to cook it.
But the stove lighting has good lighting sometimes. Yeah. If you have a good, like, light on your stove.
Yeah.
Like, put your phone
for
on.
sure. Yeah. But, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so...
Aging.
I was going to say that pretty much sums up our podcast today. Don't forget to follow along if you like our podcast, so you can
share it.
Yeah, share it, like it, follow along, go to the podcast store, Spotify store, rate, review. It really helps bump us up to the top if you like it.
Tell us what you think.
And then you'll be updated for future episodes if you follow us along. But other than that,
Peace
Catch
and
you guys
love.
on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.